So are you vegan or not? Reg here, and welcome to another episode of Food for Thought.
This is a world premiere.
So this question of being vegan or not vegan is one that was posed by one of the commenters on one of my videos recently. And I found the question itself somewhat disturbing. Within the question of being a vegan or not, there are a lot of assumptions made about what being vegan means to any given individual. You know, as we know, there are people who are claiming to be vegans who may eat fish, who may eat other animal products, who may wear leather, who may wear articles of clothing or use objects that were derived from the exploitation and suffering and slaughter of animals. So when someone asked me if I'm a vegan, I feel in a lot of ways it's very reductive. It assumes a lot of things about the type of vegan that they are and assumes a lot about the vegan that they expect me to be when I don that label. That's one of the reasons why a few months ago I posted a video saying why I'm not vegan. What interests me more in my work in social justice is not whether or not a person dons a specific label, but what is their stance in terms of the dominant cultural mode. And when I talk about the dominant cultural mode, I am talking about this modality in which our world moves forward, is fueled by violence and exploitation, and that exploitation may be of people based on where they live in the world, their gender, their so-called race, or their species. What I want to think about when I think about being a vegan or when I think about veganism is the idea that we can live in this world without violence and exploitation. And that is violence and exploitation, whether it be based on race, gender, geography, or species. However, I understand that when people talk about being vegans, they may not include in their analysis the way human animals might be exploited in this world, or the way people may exploit the resources that come out of the ground. And those aren't necessarily about, care for the animals, but it is part of the dominant cultural way, the dominant cultural mode of exploitation that is destroying the planet. Some people might think that being a vegan lets them off the hook. They may feel that they've arrived at some type of destination, be it spiritual or physical, which places them above many others in the society who may continue to exploit animals. However, there are vegans who are continuing to be exploitative in terms of others and in terms of the planet itself. For example, I find it difficult to believe that there are no vegans who also abuse their spouse, or that there are no vegans who buy cheap clothing that are manufactured by people in other countries who've been exploited for their labor, or that there aren't indeed vegans who are racist, and by that maintaining a system of white supremacy that continues to exploit and suppress, oppress Black and brown people all over the world. There's one thing that I will say about veganism that's a positive, and likely is a positive across the board. To be a vegan requires an analysis of the exploitation and suffering of others who are different than yourself. So a vegan, if you're concerned with the exploitation and suffering of animals, you've stepped outside of yourself and recognized that there are others in the world, other than yourself, who may have feelings, who may be going through a situation that you can do something about, where you can be an aid, where you can change your behavior and stop this system. With that, if vegans were to take that step a step further and consider that not only animals continue to be the targets of exploitation and violence and suffering throughout the world, but there are people who are suffering based on their gender. There are people who are suffering based on the color of their skin, or where in the world they live, or what abilities they were given at birth, or what abilities they may have lost because of some type of an accident. And so by being a vegan, it is definitely a first step in broadening your analysis of the world and being about something other than yourself. And I think that that's really, really important. The question is, what are you going to do with it? That's it for this video. Like it if you like it, share, comment, subscribe. This is Reg signing off. Love yourself. Peace.
And I love myself. The world is a ghetto.